Hi, and welcome to week 5. This week we are talking about organizing our activities and our classrooms, not only for yourself, but for your students as well. And please keep in mind that as we're going through these modules each week, that most of the things that we're covering are things that your students can and should be using as well. And other colleagues in your department, maybe they didn't go through this class, but a lot of these things would help them become more organized and maybe feel a little bit more comfortable with Google if they knew how to use the tools more properly. So today we're going to be talking about Google Calendar first. Everyone gets a Google Calendar by default with their account through School City of Hammond. So maybe some of you are already using Google Calendar and others are not, but it's a great way to keep yourself organized, set reminders. You can do a lot through Google Classroom, and it also integrates seamlessly with your Google Classrooms that you've created. So a few ways to get to your Google Calendar. Of course, as always, you can type in your address bar, calendar.google.com, and it will take you there. You can also use your Waffle, and there is the calendar app as well. So 2 ways to get there. Like I said, you have a default calendar. So what you're looking at right now is my default calendar. And you can see over here on the left, it will default to your name. So that's kind of the main calendar that you have will be your name. Underneath will be the calendars that you create separately or add on. And also every time you create a Google Classroom, it creates a calendar for you. So what you're looking at now is the month view. You have different views in calendar. You can go to a day view, a week view, month, or year. I prefer to do a month. That's just the way that I like my view to look. You also have a schedule, which is nice because it'll give you a nice breakdown of what you're doing for that month, kind of in a list view if you like to see it that way. Okay, you can stack calendars on top of each other. So for instance, the defaulted calendar with my name is anything that you see in the purple. So I have these appointments here that are in the purple. I have blocks, chunks of blocks out here that are in purple. That's all correlating to my Alicia 4 calendar. And you can change the color of those. Other calendars will be assigned other colors. I also have created a personal family events calendar here. So when I turn this on, you're going to see a bunch of appointments pop up in blue because that's designating it as a different calendar for family events. So if I click the box here, you'll see anything that pops up in the blue is for my family events calendar. I also have some Google Classroom calendars over here. So maybe I want my Girls Who Code calendar to pop up. So you'll see a few more things added. We have our Google Level 1 certification class. That's that right there. And I'm going to click that. And you'll see that we had assignments due yesterday for that first playlist. And then what were your thoughts on the 20%. So when you create assignments in your Google Classroom, they automatically get put onto this calendar. So if you have 30 students in a Google Classroom, it has created the calendar for them, and it will put assignment deadlines on the calendar automatically when you input assignments into Google Classroom. So it's a great way for them to keep track of their assignments and things as well. So for today, I'm just going to turn everything off but my default calendar. How do you create new calendars? So next to your default calendar, you have the 3 vertical buttons or dots. You can click on that and you can work with your settings and sharing capability there. To create a new calendar, you come down here a little further and you have a plus button and it'll say add other calendars. You can create a new calendar, you can look at calendars of interest, or you can even search other people's calendars if they have them public. So to create a new calendar, you just input the name, you don't have to add a description, choose your time zone, and then go ahead and create the calendar. To share a calendar, so for instance on my website, I have my calendar embedded into my website so people can see where I'm at and they can book appointments that way. You can go to settings and sharing. And over here on the left, You have permissions for what your calendar will be if you want it to be public, so that everyone can see it. You can also get the shareable link there and share that out via email. So if you're an instructional coach, or maybe you're a coach for an after-school activity or athletics, you can create a calendar for, say, Morton High School football, and you can have all the games on there, the practice schedule, any special events that you all do, and you can share that link out with parents and players, or community members if you want community to come. And then down here, you can share with specific people. So just like you can in any other Google Docs, you can say add people. You can put in the name of who you want that to be shared with. And you can also give them different capabilities within your calendar. So you can just say, I only want them to see when I'm free or when I'm busy. They don't need to see all the details. They can see all my event details. They can make changes to events, or they can make changes and manage sharing capabilities. So you really have to decide whoever you're sharing it with. They'll probably get different capabilities depending on who they are. Okay. You also have notifications down here, and that becomes important for appointments, at least for me. So if I have an appointment, I always set my notifications. I usually set them a little longer than 10 minutes. There's 2 notifications, email and then just a regular notification. So notifications will pop up in the bottom right corner of your screen. If you have your phone connected, if you have your app, calendar app on your phone, it'll pop up there. You can change how many minutes, or you can change this to hours, days, or weeks, depending how long you need a reminder. So if you had a Google Classroom calendar and say you had a project due before spring break, that gives your kids 3 weeks to work on a project. And we all know that we usually need to give them some structure and some reminders along the way, maybe 100 reminders depending. So you could add events in your calendar that will remind them maybe 2 times a week. Hey, you should be at this point by now with your project. It's due on this date, and send those reminders to them. So that's all in your settings tab. You have your sharing capabilities and then all the different notifications that you can send out for events. All right, how do we create events in our calendar? So the way that we create events in our calendar is we click on the Create button here. It will default to whatever day it is currently, so it's the 2nd of March, or you can change the date here. You can go in and choose a different date, or if you know that there's a date you're going to have an event, so maybe on Monday the 16th, I can double click there, and I can begin to put in my credentials for this event. So I'm just going to title this a sample event. March 16th. If you say all day, it'll block it off for the whole day with a highlighted bar. If you want a certain time, you just take that off, and then you can choose the time. You can choose the end date, so maybe it's going to go to the 17th. You can repeat weekly basis, monthly basis. So if there's meetings that you're going to have with a club and they're every other week, you can put those in there for a reminder. You can add a location. Conferencing is great. You can do video conferencing, which we're going to get into next week in our module about Hangouts. So we'll kind of get more in depth about that. But if you wanted to do a video conference, which is also great for e-learning days, to do check-ins with your kids, remote virtual interviews with outside people, you can have a Meet link that will be added there automatically. Here's your notification. Again, you could set it there. I want a notification before this happens. You can add multiple notifications, so you can have like 4 or 5 notifications if you'd like. Down here is what is important as well. Right here is the calendar that it is going to be assigned to. If you want it to assign to a different calendar, you have to use that drop down and you have to add it here. So what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to create an event to remind everyone in our class that we need to register for that certification exam. So our last module for this course is going to be March 9th through the 15th. The 16th through the 22nd is an exam review week for us to ask questions and do some practice. And then the week of spring break is when we'll take the test. So the first day of that is the 23rd. So I'm going to change this to the 23rd, actually the 22nd, and I am going to put it through the 27th. And we're going to say all day on that. And I am going to give you a notification that you will get reminded. Five days before, and then I'm going to add another notification 1 day before, and then I'm going to add a notification. No, well, that's good. I think 2 is good. Okay. Then down here I can add a description. You can add links. So I'm going to go up here and I'm just going to go to the Google Level 1 certification. Now I'm going to get to the website right here where it says register for the Level 1 exam. And I'm logged in right now. Sorry about that. So let me go back. I'll just take this link and put that down here for you. I can also add attachments. So if I wanted to give you an attachment, maybe I wanted to put the agenda, the Google certification classwork agenda. There it is. So you have that. I can add guests. So if I want to invite people, I can add guests here. So I can start to type in everyone's name and it would pop up there. I'm just going to put in one name that I know wouldn't mind if I sent this to him. And I am going to save it. Now when I save it, asks me, would you like to send invitation emails to Google Calendar guests? For sure, I'm going to send that. Or I can say dismiss, and I'm not going to send it to him right now because I don't want him to get a bunch of emails. But so that's how you set up an event, and then you click save. Now if I go down here and I turn on my Level 1, that's purple. Let me change that color to something different. I'm going to change it to red. And I made a rookie mistake there. I didn't change my calendar from Alicia 4 to Google Level 1 certification. And now you see it shows up in that red-orange color that that week will be the week that we take the exam. Okay. Let me show you a Google Classroom calendar. So let me go to Classroom and pull that up. So here's our Google Level Certified exam. Course Classroom. If I click on classwork, you see where it says Google Calendar here, and I click on Google Calendar and it's going to take me right back to my Google Calendar page, and here's that calendar, Google Level 1 certification. So when you're done doing this, or if you're doing it with me, go ahead and check your calendar page because you should see that as well. I think that's about it with Google Calendar. So if you have any questions, as always, reach out to me. And then, of course, you have the scenarios that you can work through. So good luck with Google Calendar.